In this video, we're going to talk about evaluating exponential functions. But before we get there, let's start by saying what is an exponential function. Okay, so let's start with that. An exponential function is a function that looks like f of x equals a to the x. Okay, where a is some number, real number that's greater than 0 and doesn't equal 1. We would say that this is an exponential function with the base equal to a. Okay, so we commonly refer to the base, and we're referring to this a here. And the exponent is x. Okay. One thing I want to say about this exponential function is that if we were to think about its domain, the domain for an exponential function is negative infinity to infinity. Okay, you can plug in any value for x and you'll get a real number for the function. So the domain is any real number. Okay, let's go ahead and do some examples where we're evaluating exponential functions. So say we have to evaluate 2 to the power x plus 1, and let's evaluate it at x equal to -1 and x equal to +1. So let's go ahead and do this. Start with -1. So I'll have 2, so I'm going to plug in -1 for x. So I'll have 2 to the power 0. Now anything to the power 0 is equal to 1. So f of -1 equals 1. Alright, now let's do the positive one. So I'll have 2 to the 1 plus 1, which is 2 squared. 2 squared is 4. So f of 1 equals 4. Okay, let's do one more example. Okay, so now moving on to another example. We have f of x is -1/4 to the x, to the power x. You know, before I get started with finding these, these different values, I just want to remind us, that if you have, actually, let me go ahead and erase that. If you have like 1 over some number, so 1 over 4 in this case, or negative, we have -1 over 4. This is the same thing as -4 to the -1 power. Okay, so if you have a fraction, so a different fraction, say 1/3, this is the same thing as 3 to the -1. If you had, I'm just giving some more examples. You had 5/4, that's the same as 4/5 to the -1 power. So bringing something to a negative power just basically flips the fraction, right? So it's going to remind us of that rule. Okay. All right. So now let's go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and let's find f of 2. So that would be -1/4 squared. Okay. Now I can distribute the 2, so I can have the 1 being squared and the 4 being squared. And so then this is 1 over 16. Okay, that's not bad. So f of 2 equals 1/16. Okay, now let's go ahead and do the next one. This one is a little more tricky. So we have -1/4, and now we're bringing it to the power of -2. Okay, so I want to use this first. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Instead of writing to the -1/4, I'm going to write -4 to the -1 power. Okay, then I'm going to multiply these two powers, so then I'll have -4 to the second power. So that will then be 16. So my answer, f of -2, is 16. I should have written -2 there, not x. Alright. In the next video, I'm going to review some of these rules regarding exponents. Okay, so for example, the rule that I used to multiply these two, I'm going to go ahead and review some of those rules in the next video in case you've forgotten. It should be things that you already know by now, but we'll do an example and we'll review these exponent rules in the next video.